Well, we get another cop that's committed a crime, but yet gets a very light sentence. This one is called Cop Only Gets 1 Year After Killing Teen During Traffic Stop. Cop sentenced to 1 year for teen's traffic stop death.
Former Lenox County Sheriff Deputy Michael Davis on the left and Hunter Britton on the right. This former Arkansas Sheriff's deputy was convicted of killing that young man. The charge of conviction was negligent homicide. The sentence, 1 year in jail. He killed a 17-year-old during a traffic stop. He's only going to get 1 year in jail. Okay? The jury found Davis guilty of the charge. Now, you may wonder, how in the world do you get only 1 year in jail for something that leads to the death? It's called negligent homicide. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in Arkansas, negligent homicide is a misdemeanor.
What? Wow.
It is a misdemeanor offense.
Unreal.
He gets 1 year.
He only gets, and he gets charged with negligent homicide? He should at least fucking manslaughter it.
Negligent homicide is a misdemeanor, punishable by up to a year in prison. Manslaughter is a felony for which David would have faced between 3 and 10 years. But that's not what it is. That's not what happened. That's not what they decided to charge and convict on. Rebecca Payne, the young man's mother, said family members wanted the deputy convicted of the felony to ensure he could not serve as a law enforcement officer again. Now what's going to happen? Are people going to have to fear for their lives again? She told reporters, ma'am, I'm so sorry for your loss, but yes, that's right. A misdemeanor does not prohibit a cop from being a cop. He has been convicted of an offense that will allow him to remain what's called post-certified or to obtain post-certification from another state in the future. He has no felony on his record, even though he has a dead body, a teenage body that he killed him. Meanwhile, Davis's attorney plans to challenge the conviction. It says Davis was fired after the shooting by Sheriff John Staley. Let's put up a picture of the sheriff. Okay, that's the sheriff that let him go. Because Davis did not turn on his body camera until after he left the shooting. Now remember, the body camera thing, right? We talked about this extensively on Indisputable. Here's how you enforce the body camera rule. If your police division does not have body cameras in your local community, you make sure they get them. I'm saying this to everyone, regardless of political affiliation. That's good for community. That's good for cop. If they are good cops, they want everything to be recorded because that protects them from lies. And community, well, you already know, it protects them from corrupt cops, right? So it's a good thing. But it would never be implemented fully until your local jurisdiction passes laws that says if you manipulate this camera, you will be charged with tampering with evidence. That's a felony. If you manipulate the footage, if you turn it off, if you choose not to turn it on, you will be charged with tampering with evidence. Infraction without enforcement means nothing. Okay. Davis pulled over the 17-year-old Britton on June 23rd, 2021, giving you background to this story. Davis told investigators that he shot the 17-year-old once in the neck during the stop outside an auto repair shop after the teen exited his truck and reached into the bed of the pickup while failing to comply with his commands to show his hands, according to the arrest affidavit. Britton was holding a container, which his family members have said held antifreeze. and no evidence of firearms were found in or near the truck, investigators said. A passenger with Britton said he and the team had been working on the transmission for Britton's truck. Britton's family members have said he was grabbing the container to place behind the truck's wheel to stop it from rolling backward. The passenger and another witness testified they never heard Davis tell the teen to show his hands. And there was also an initial report from this story. We covered this initially. There was a report from the story that said the young man told the officer why he needed to do it. It was actually to protect the cop. It was to stop the truck from rolling back on the police officer. So in his attempt to actually save the police,
like a block,
he gets killed. Ben.
I mean, this is just absolutely infuriating because, I mean, like, the 1 year sentence, like, I don't know. Like, I personally am somebody that is in favor of, like, shorter sentences and things like that. But we need to understand this is a law enforcement officer. We need to understand if he's not turning on his camera, then that would suggest that there's a little bit more forethought or at least even more extreme negligence. And we also need to understand this is a person who's in a position of power who should know better, who should be more responsible. And I personally think there should be a separate higher standard for law enforcement officers whenever they're facing criminal charges, that they should face more severe criminal charges because of the position that they hold. Because, I mean, this is just a 17-year-old. I mean, he's just a young kid. And for a routine traffic stop to end in somebody's, like, losing their life is just absolutely tragic, but especially somebody who hasn't even experienced the majority of life. And it's just absolutely infuriating to see that he might have the potential to become a law enforcement officer again and do exactly the same thing potentially in the future.
And I want to say this, it was all by design. They designed the charge this way. They designed the conviction this way. He is now allowed, based on regular statute, he is allowed to be a police officer. This is only a misdemeanor conviction. And you don't think there's some police chief out there, there's some sheriff out there, some governor out there who would not hire this individual? Of course. All right.
Yeah, as well. And this is another case of a cop gets a light sentence. Yeah. Just like, you know, Dante Chauvin, the killer of George Floyd, and remember Amber Geiger killed that unarmed black man in his own apartment because she said she feared for life and he didn't obey his commands. The guy was unarmed, and Amber Geiger only got 5 years, and this guy only gets 1 year. What does that tell you about the value of the cops versus the rest of society, ladies and gentlemen? Think about that. And with that said, I'm out of here. Mike Job, and peace out.